What's up, guys? Brian back again for the PT channel here to talk about some Walking Dead and the general topic of Daryl Dixon. He is such a badass character. I can't picture the show without him. Now, there's been a lot of talk of that he will die. And it's every season it comes about that Daryl Dixon will die. He's going to die here. He wants to film a motorcycle show. He wants to make movies. He wants to do this. Is he going to die? When's he going to die? You put Daryl Dixon death and you're going to get people clicking on your show, clicking on your links, clicking on your articles, clicking on whatever. And that's what it's all about. But I can't picture the show without Daryl Dixon. It's crazy to think that Daryl Dixon, Norman Reedus, wasn't even supposed to be on the show. He came in, read for Merle's part. They already cast Michael Rooker for Merle, but they loved Norman Reedus so much that they made the Dixon brothers. And the Dixon brothers aren't in the comics. They have nothing to do with that, but they were added for the show. And Daryl could have died in season 1, episode 3 or 4. I know Robert Kirkman talked about inside the actor studio that there was talks that Daryl dies. And that would kind of suck because look at the growth of that character. Carol, Daryl, Carl, certain characters have shown, Father Gabriel now and Eugene have shown some growth, but I think Daryl and Carol are the people of the characters of the show that have shown the greatest growth of who they are. You know, Daryl was an outcast of the show, or an outcast of there. He was a lone wolf, lone survivor out there for himself, came into the group, and then he became an asset. He stepped up, as Carol said in some of the episodes, where he became part of the team. And I know that he is such a big part of the show that he's arguably the biggest fan favorite of the show. You have Rick, Daryl, and Michonne are the fan favorites of there. And I feel like you can't kill them. You can't get rid of them. So I know there's talk of Negan in episode 16, which we will not see Negan until episode 16, the finale. And we will not see anything to do with that character in person. There will be talks of him and the Saviors and the groups and all this, how bad he is and everything, but you won't actually see him to then. And he actually does hit somebody in the head with Lucille, his barbed wired wrapped bat. So that's going to happen. He's going to kill somebody in that episode. And Greg Nicotero said that's his best episode that he ever directed, his most favorite episode on there too. So someone's going to die. When Greg Nicotero directs an episode, he's the Grim Reaper. People die. So someone is going to die. Now, in the comic book, we all know, you read it everywhere, it's Glenn. But people seem to think it's Daryl because Daryl killed the Saviors with the rocket launcher. There was a truck in the back. If you've seen the clip, it literally, that truck rolls in for 2 seconds, not even 1 second. They say, I'm going to kill you. Truck rolls in, boom, they explode. You see the truck for 2 seconds. Now, is that Negan? Is that the Saviors? Is that another guy of the Saviors that that's going to go back and tell the group that we got a problem with this group? Maybe they saw him with the rocket launcher. Maybe they didn't. Who knows with that? We'll see when the series comes about. But I could see where they're going with that. Daryl kills the Saviors and his men, so Negan gets even and kills Daryl. I can see that. I just have a hard time seeing that Daryl wouldn't be a part of the show anymore. Norman Reedus loves this show more than any character on it. He is Daryl Dixon, and Daryl Dixon is Norman Reedus. And he says that he would light his trailer on fire, he would riot, he would have people riot, people would riot if Daryl dies, it gets crazy. He'll be handing out matches if he dies, it'd be getting nuts, you know. It's just crazy to think that if Daryl Dixon was in the show, you would lose some viewers. I mean, people would still watch. You might have 15 million instead of 16 or 18 million viewers, but still, you're going to lose a lot of merchandise, you're going to lose a lot of sales, you're going to lose a lot of stuff on there, and I don't think the Walking Dead want to do that. Now, if Daryl Dixon goes out, I think he's got to go out in a blaze of glory, saving somebody, getting shot, jumping in the way, doing something heroic to save Carol or Rick or Carl or Michonne or somebody. He needs to do something to do that way. Not get captured by the Saviors and get his head bashed in by Lucille. That would just be crazy to think. So between Glenn and Daryl, I don't want either of them to die. Who wants that to die, you know? But I would take Glenn dying over Daryl. I'm sorry, Glenn. Sorry, Stephen Yeun. But ultimately, that's that's how I would feel, and I'm sure, you know, a bulk of the people would feel that way. So we don't know anything. This is our viewpoints on there too. Daryl Dixon, Norman Reedus is a cash cow for the show. If he's gone, you're going to lose some of that panache on there too. Daryl Dixon can still do movies. He can still do other shows. He's going to film in between there. They only film May to November. And he can still do a bunch of projects in between there too. So I know the first part of season 6, he was filming 999. Definitely can't wait to see that movie end of February. Check it out. but he wasn't in there as much because he had to go and film that as well. So he was only in a couple episodes of the first season of season 6. But he can still do that. It comes up every year that he does that. So we'll see. In 7 more weeks, we'll see what happens of it, and we'll see the spoilers and everything, and we'll be able to know firsthand. But it's just tough to think. And I think that when they shot it, it was Glenn next to Daryl. So you don't know who got hit with the bat. The stuff, the leaked footage is very blurry. It's very grainy. You don't know who actually got hit on there. So it's taken down now because of copyright, of course. But ultimately, I just think Daryl Dixon being on the show is a bigger need than Glenn Rhee of it. That it's just my opinion on there. You know, Glenn has survived, but his story arc does die by Negan's hands in the comic, and I could see that that's the way they're going to go. They're doing more and more stuff from the comics. So we'll see. I just know that Daryl Dixon is the heart and of the show. That, you know, it's Rick, Michonne, and Daryl, the 3 biggest characters, and it would be tough to bounce back if you lost him. So, what do you guys think? Do you think it's Glenn? Do you think it's Daryl? Who knows? The poll, I think, is about 50-50 in the stuff we've seen online. So, as always, guys, just food for thought, our opinions. So like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And as always, thank you.